Hi, I'm Jean, and I'm here at the Lime Tree Theatre in Limerick. Today I'm going to be playing the Grand High Witch in Roald Dahl's classic story, The Witches. We've got about 45 minutes until the show begins, so why don't you come backstage and spend with me that time that we in the theatre call the half. The half-hour call, or the half for short, is given to the cast and crew 30 minutes before they are called to the stage to stand by for the performance. It's the time when the technical crew carries out the final checks to make sure everything is ready for the show, and the time when the performers warm up and put on their makeup and costumes. There are 4 calls altogether: the half-hour call, the 15-minute call, the 5-minute call, and finally, beginner's call, which is given 5 minutes before the performance begins. It's not quite time for my half-hour call yet, so I'm going to have a quick cuppa and study my lines where the performers go to relax when they're not on stage. The Green Room. The story of The Witches is all about a little boy who goes to live with his grandmother. She tells him about real witches who are bald and have no toes and have to wear gloves to hide their long claws. Every year the witches have an annual meeting which is led by the Grand High Witch. The scene that I'm going to be performing today is the Grand High Witch talking to all of the other witches about how much she hates children. To the witches, children smell like dog's droppings. She comes up with a plan to get rid of the children of the world. And without wanting to spoil anything, let's just say her plan doesn't work out quite as she hopes.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the company of the witches, this is your half-hour call. You have 30 minutes, please. Thank you.
That's the half. Let's go. So here we are on the stage, and it's time for our warm-up. The audience hasn't come in yet, so we've got a few minutes to do a physical and a vocal warm-up. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we've got a big pot of paint in front of us. It's blue paint, and we're going to dip our arms into this blue paint. And now we're going to feel it squish and slide all around us, and we're going to flick the paint. So flick it as far as you can. Try and reach the walls with the paint that you're flicking off. And now just let the paint dribble off your arms. Good. Next, we have a big pot of red paint in front of us. I want you to dip one of your legs in the red pot of paint, and I want you to give it a good old shake. So really, really shake it, and shake it behind as well. You want the whole room to be covered in red paint, and a bit of blue paint, and a bit of red and blue paint. Great. Next one, we're going to dip our other leg into a big pot of green paint. So in it goes, and a nice big shake. There we go. And let's get that behind us. And green paint going everywhere. And then we've got some red paint and green paint and red and green paint and a bit of blue. Great. And we're just going to let all of that dribble onto the floor in a big puddle around us. The last one is a big pot of yellow paint. And we're going to just step into the yellow paint, and we're going to go down into the yellow paint and back up. So you're covered in yellow paint, and you're just going to flick everywhere. Yellow paint everywhere. Off we go, up to the ceiling, down to the floor, behind you. That's it. And take a little rest. Well done. So the body is nice and warmed up. So it's time to give it a good old stretch. So we've warmed up the whole body, and now it's safe for us to stretch it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch out our neck muscles. So we're just going to go from side to side. And then back. And then we're going to go around the other way. Good. Now we're going to warm up the shoulders. I want you to imagine that in your shoulders, you've got some cookie dough. And Cookie dough is definitely my favourite ice cream. So I'm going to mash this cookie dough round and around. And I'm going to imagine that it's at the front, and I'm going to mash that cookie dough at the front. Good. Round and round it goes. Just give myself a little bit of a shake out. I'm going to imagine that I've got a huge, big, glittery hula hoop around my waist. So I'm going to just give a good old round and round. That's it. And round the other way. Well done. And now we're just going to shake out the shoulders. And we're just going to do a roll down. So we're going to start with the head. The head goes to the chin. And all the way down. Keep the knees a little bit bent. And we're just going to hang over. And this gives our legs a nice stretch. And we just go from side to side. And then we're just going to gently roll up. And the head comes up last. We're going to open up our ribs, because when you're on stage and you're delivering lines, you need a lot of breath to get those lines the whole way to the back of the theatre. So we're just going to stretch over to the side, and you bring your other arm to the side and you put it on your ribs and you breathe into this hand. So let's breathe in together. Just a few. And then we're going to go to the other side. And up we go. And that is our physical warm-up. We're going to move on now to the vocal warm-up. It's really, really important for the actor to warm up their vocal cords before they start, so they don't do any damage when they're projecting their voices all the way to the back of the theatre. We're going to start off with a very gentle hum. Try it with me. Now we're going to slide up and down on the scale. We're going to go a bit higher. And now we're going to start low and we're going to go up nice and high. I want you to give your face a good old massage. Give it a good old massage. Make really kind of funny faces as you do this. Great. Rub all around your sinuses, up onto your forehead. And now we're going to really stretch out our faces. Ready? Here we go. Like you've seen a ghost. And now like you've eaten a lemon. Ghost. Lemon. Ghost. Lemon. And that gives our face a good old stretch out. Let's pretend we're on a motorbike, and I want you to just roll your lips off each other. And now I want you to imagine that you're making the sound of a snake. The last one we're going to do is I want you to imagine that you're making the sound of an old-fashioned telephone ringing. It sounds a bit like this. Bring, 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 bring. So now we're going to do some exercises with words. This helps with our diction. It's really important that what we say on stage is very clear to the audience. Otherwise, the story gets lost. So we're going to start off with a few tongue twisters. The first one is the tip of the tongue, the teeth and the lips. Try it with me. The tip of the tongue, the teeth and the lips. The tip of the tongue, the teeth and the lips. The tip of the tongue, the teeth and the lips. The tip of the tongue, the teeth and the lips. The next one we're going to move on to is some B's. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter. I'm going to say that really fast now, but I've had a lot of practice, so if you don't get it, don't worry. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter. The last thing that I like to do as a warm-up is I like to really get my concentration going. We're going to do a little rhyme called The Grand Old Duke of York, and we're going to add in some actions to it. I'm not sure if you know this one, but I'll sing it very slowly the first time around so you can learn it with me. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. So you'll notice every time I sang the word up, I would do a big clap up here. And every time I sang the word down, I'd do a jump. We're going to do it a little bit faster this time. Here we go. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. Okay, we're going to do that again, but this time we're not going to sing the word up. We are going to do the clap, but no singing the word up. Ready? Here we go. We're going to go a little bit faster. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were, they were. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway, they were neither nor down. Now we're going to do it again, but this time you're not allowed to sing the word up and you're not allowed to sing the word down. Here we go. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them to the top of the hill and he marched them again. And when they were, they were. And when they were, they were. And when they were only halfway, they were neither nor. Well done. I hope you got it all right. Now it's time for us to go into the dressing room because it's time for costume and makeup. So here we are in my dressing room, and as you can see, I've taken off all my makeup because it's time to start putting on my makeup for the stage. We're a few minutes away from the 15-minute call, so I'm going to try and get my wig done before that happens. So, as I said to you earlier on, real witches have bald heads, they have no toes and long bony fingers. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be applying a bald wig cap, and also over here I have a prosthetic, so an old witch prosthetic, which I'm going to stick to my face. We're going to start with the bald cap. We have to be very careful when we're applying the bald cap because it's very delicate. So as you can see, I've got very short hair, and I have found this magic powder that makes my hair stand up completely straight. But when you're using wigs, it's actually great because it keeps all the tiny little hairs off my face. So I'm just going to put that on, and then I'm just going to pull back all of the tiny little hairs because we want to try and get them all back as much as we can before we apply the wig cap. So here we go. Let's hope for the best it stays in one piece. So what I need to do now is I need to cut around my ears. This is very tricky. Because I need to be careful that I don't tear the mask, but I also need to be careful that I don't cut myself. Now what I need to do is I need to very carefully fold this bit up, and I'm going to apply some liquid latex. So latex sticks to latex. So this is made of latex and so is this. And hopefully when this dries, they will stick to each other. Also, if you're impatient, you can, or if you don't have time, which we will do in a little while, not for this step, but we will use a hairdryer, and that will help to speed the process up a little bit. So here we go, the moment of truth. We're just gonna stretch this down, stick it on, and hope that it'll stick to the edge. So there's my bowl cap. What I've done is I have taken you probably saw that in fast forward, you saw me dabbing the latex on all over the outside, and that helps to cover the join where the edge of the latex cap meets the skin, and then it kind of gives that skin mottled effect. Now, what we're going to do next is we need to change the colour, because obviously you can see my hair underneath the cap at the moment. I'm going to get my foundation and I'm going to get my brush, and I'm going to apply the foundation just from here on my eyes the whole way back along my head, because we can't put any around the bottom of my face because we're going to be sticking this mask to my face in a little while. Here we go, we're going to go back into fast forward again. Here we are, big bald head. I've stuck a few scabs on as well because I thought that might make it look a little bit kind of icky. The witches have to wear wigs all day, so their heads are always itchy and they're always scratching. So I'm going to paint those up with a little bit of black and red paint later on. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the company of the witches, this is your quarter-hour call. You have 15 minutes, please. Thank you.
Better get a move on. That's the 15. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my eye makeup. I want the Grand High Witch to look like, even though she's still got that kind of ugly face, I want her to look like she's, you know, still made up for the occasion. So I'm going to start with some blue. It's kind of a bluey green aqua colour. And I'm just going to go right into the sockets of my eyes. That looks good, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to move on to the other eye. And now I'm going to just get a little bit of water for the next bit, because I'm going to go in with, I want this to be a really dark looking colour. Just adding water to the eyeshadow will just help to really pop that out. Now I need to go back to my original colour just to blend the colours. Okay, I'm happy with that. I might go back over it again in a few minutes. Now I'm going to do a bit that I really love. It's going over the wrinkles. So you can see on the prosthetic here, there's lots of deep lines on the mask, and I'm going to try and recreate the same on my face. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make lots of funny faces now. So when I make different faces, you can see it creates different wrinkles on my face. And what I have to do is I have to just trace over those wrinkles to really accentuate them. And the older you get, the easier this is to do. So if you're trying something like this at home, you'll probably find it difficult, because I'm sure lots of you don't have any wrinkles yet. So I'm going to go right in, and you can see there's lots of different wrinkles around here. So I'm just going to trace over those. I call this my 11. You can see why. My head is looking very kind of shiny at the moment, and what I want to try and do is I want to try and just give it a little bit of texture. So we have hollows in our head, so down here by our temples, maybe up here as well. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of texture using some contouring. So let's see how this goes. So I'm just going to create a little bit of a shadow in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just make those scabs look a little bit more realistic. So we're going to just make them look kind of bloody and gooey and yuck. So I'm going to use a little bit of, actually I'm going to use this and just pop a bit on the brush. So now it's time for the eyebrows. These go on with latex as well. These are eyebrows that I made just by putting some latex on a bit of kitchen paper and greaseproof paper, and then I just allowed it to dry, and then I stuck the hair in afterwards. So I'm just going to put these above my own eyebrows, and it's really important not to put them on my own eyebrows, because otherwise, oh, I got a bit there. Otherwise what will happen is when I peel these off, they'll take my own eyebrows with them, and I don't want that to happen. I just need to give these a couple of minutes to dry, and then it'll be time to stick them on. The latex has dried over my eyes, so now it's time to put on my eyebrows. So I only have one shot at this, so hopefully it'll go well. So on they go. And that has stuck very nicely. Look at that. Excellent. And I just pop on the other one. There we go. Now, I would like these to pop out a little more, so in colour. So I'm just going to do a little bit of work on that. I'm going to get a little bit of black face paint. Actually, it's come out a little bit grey, so that's perfect. And I'm going to go backwards with this. And it just makes the eyebrows look a little bit messier. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of lining my eyes, because I just want them to have a little bit of a pop. Here we go. So this is my liquid eyeliner. And finally, for this step, a little bit of mascara. Now, one final job, and I hope I managed to fit it in before we get the 5-minute call. I need to put latex all over my face and allow it to dry. So here we go. So that's pretty much everything done. The only things I have left to do now is to put on my costume and finally put on my prosthetic mask, which will complete the look.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the company of the witches, this is your 5-minute call. You have 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
That's the 5-minute call. I'm going to give myself that 5 minutes and then it will be time for beginners when I have to take my place at the stage. Here we go. Last few bits.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the company of the witches, this is your beginner's call. Ms. McGlynn to the stage, please. All technical staff and crew to your positions. This is your beginner's call. Thank you.
Witches. Miserable witches. Useless, lazy witches. You are nothing but a heap of good-for-nothing idle worms. As I am eating my lunch, I am looking out the window. And what am I seeing? I am seeing a revolting sight which is putting me off my food. Hundreds of rotten, revolting children playing on the sand. Why have you not got rid of them? Why? You will do better. My orders are that every child shall be rubbed out, squashed, squished, squitted and fritted by the time I come here again in 1 year's time. I am having a plan. A giganticus plan using nothing but magic. You will buy sweet shops. You will fill them high with luscious sweets and tasty chocks. You will have a great gala opening with free sweets and chocks for every child. You will be filling every choc and every sweet with my latest and greatest magic formula. Formula 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker. Inject 1 droplet of the formula in every sweet and every choc. Open your shop, and as the children pour in on their way home from school, cram them full of sticky eats. Send them home still guzzling sweets, and in the morning little fools go marching off to separate schools. A girl feels sick, she grows all pale. She yells, "Hey look, I've grown a tail!" A boy who's standing next to her screams, "Help! I think I'm growing fur!" Another shouts, "We look like freaks! There's whiskers growing on our cheeks!" A boy who was extremely tall cries out, "I think I'm growing small!" 4 tiny legs begin to sprout from everybody round about. And all at once, all in a trice, there are no children, only mice. The teachers cry, "What's going on?" "Oh, where have all the children gone?" Then, suddenly, the mice they spot, fetch mousetrap strong and kills a lot. They sweep the dead mice all away. And all us witches shout,